The New York Football Giants. Last season, the Giants were 9-7, right? They were not a very good football team last year. They did win 9 games. They finished third in the division. They actually made the playoffs, but they were not a very good football team. They were pretty mediocre for the most part. We just have to be honest with that. Somehow they made their way to the playoffs. I guess you give Brian Daboll credit. Brian Daboll, first year as the as the New York Giants head coach, he got them to 9 wins. Their point differential was -6, which was better than the previous year under Joe Judge, who was a complete disaster. I mean, Joe Judge was awful. He might have been the worst coach in New York Giant history. You know, I can't confirm that, but that's how bad he was. So the bar was not that high to begin with for Brian Daboll as he took over for the Giants for his first season, because Joe Judge was just so bad. But Brian Daboll got him to the playoffs, so you give him credit. Now, their defense was not that good. It was towards the bottom of the NFL. The offense was in the middle of the pack, probably below the middle in many cases, led by Saquon Barkley, 1,300 yards on the ground. Daniel Jones, who got that contract extension that everyone was going crazy about, over 3,000 yards passing. And their leading receiver was Darius Slayton at 724 yards. So, you know, they did improve. They brought in some pieces, right? They brought in the tight end from, I believe, the Raiders, Waller, who's pretty good tight end. I mean, he's going to be a fantasy. He's really good. And that's definitely going to help Daniel Jones. And so they got Barkley back. They got Cole Beasley they picked up early in July. So this team is going to look better, at least on paper. Now, will that translate to more wins, or how would they be able to compete in a pretty competitive division with the Dallas Cowgirls and the Philadelphia Eagles? We don't know if the New York Giants will be able to compete. They could be better on paper and still finish third in the division again, and maybe this year they may not make the playoffs. You know, it's still touch and go on that because the NFC is weaker, right? The NFC is a lot more wide open than it was last year, so the Giants definitely have a shot to get in the playoffs. But will they win more than 9 games? And that's what we're here to determine today. So let's get the schedule up for these New York Giants. And we will start with week 1. Big game, NBC, Sunday Night Football, at home, hosting the Dallas Cowgirls. Where's my pen? Oh. Dallas Cowgirls are going to come in here and they're going to beat the Giants in week 1. So the Giants will take the L, 0-1. Week 2 on Fox, Arizona heading out to Arizona to take on those Arizona Cardinals on Fox. That's a 4 p.m. game Sunday on the road. Can the Giants win that game? I'm going to say yes. I'll give the Giants the win there at Arizona. I'm not very high on Arizona. Thursday, a short week. They got a quick turnaround. They got to go out to San Francisco. So I don't know, after Arizona, do they go back to New York and then come back, or do they stay on the West Coast? They probably stay on the West Coast because they have Thursday night. They got to take on those 49ers on Prime Video. It's a short week. I'm giving the 49ers the victory here. So that's another L for the New York Giants to fall to 1-2. Week 4. They're back home at MetLife hosting the Seattle Sea Chickens Monday night on ESPN. So they get a little bit of a rest, a break, an extra couple days to recover from that 49er loss before they host the Sea Chickens. Geno Smith and the Sea Chickens, former Giant Geno Smith, who has a chip on his shoulder probably, and will want to show the Giants that they made a mistake by not making him their franchise quarterback. I'm going to give Geno Smith the W here. I think at home, on the road, Geno Smith comes into MetLife and hands the New York Giants a loss at MetLife. Now the Giants are 1-3. People are chirping in big New York. 98.7 ESPN radio, ESPN New York. The Giant fans calling up Don LaGreca, talking about his Daniel Jones. Did he get too much money? What's the deal? Contract. Daniel Jones is getting crushed by the New York media. You gotta love it. Don LaGreca probably going on one of his crazy rants as the Giants are 1-3 headed to Week 5 at Miami. They gotta go to Miami to take on the Dolphins, and they will beat Miami in that game. Surprisingly, they will come back and beat the Miami Dolphins 1 o'clock down in Miami. Some way, somehow they'll pull it off. I don't know how. And it was a very much needed win, because things do not get easier for the Giants after that, as they have to head back to New York to take on the Buffalo Bills on Sunday night at Buffalo. They take the L there, so now they are 2-4 going into Week 7 against the Washington Commanders. Do they beat the Commanders at home? I give them a win here, so the Giants will win that game, but then they'll go on a 3-game losing streak after beating Washington in Week 7. They'll lose in Week 8, 9, and 10 to the Jets at home, at Vegas, and at the Cowgirls. What a rough stretch here. Week 11, they go out to Washington to take on the Commanders. And I'm going to give the Commanders a W here. I think the Washington Commanders will win at home on Fox in a close game. So the Commanders get another win. Giants have now lost 4 in a row, 5 of their last 6. And the train is crumbling as they come back to New York to host the New England Patriots. The Patriots beat them. The day after Thanksgiving, the Patriots hand the Giants a beatdown of biblical proportion. A biblical beatdown. The Patriots hand the Giants. We're talking about a blowout, like a 20-point blowout. Mac Jones, Stevenson, Ezekiel Elliott runs all over the New York Giants defense, and the Patriots win that game. And the Giants head to the bye week in deep, deep trouble. To 4-8 headed to the bye week now for the Giants. Things are not looking good for the New York Giants. 4-8. Now, let's not forget, last season they lost 7 total games. They're going to head to the bye week going into Week 13, 4-8. And then they got to host Green Bay December 11th after the bye week on ABC Monday night. Now, at this point of the year, has Jordan Love became a elite quarterback yet? Or is he still struggling in Green Bay? Well, he has to come out to MetLife to take on the Giants. Monday night game, bright lights. Can the Giants win this game to save any type of chance for this season? I give the Giants the win here. They'll win at home against Green Bay. 5-8. Week 15, they have to head out to New Orleans to take on the Saints. Derek Carr and those New Orleans Saints on Fox. Can the Giants win this game? This is a must-win for the Giants. I'm going to say they will go to New Orleans and beat the Saints somehow. So now they're on a 3-game winning streak. Here come the Giants. Can they finish off the year strong? Maybe finish with a winning record? I'm going to say no. Now, a slight correction here. I made a big mistake on the Giants. It was 9-7-1, not 9-7. So I want to correct that for the record. I just realized that just now, because we want to try to be accurate on last season's stats. Let's show that again. 9-7-1 for the correction. All right, back to the predictions. So, Giants, they have to head out now to Philadelphia, Lincoln Financial, to take on the Sheagles. And the Eagles can hand the Giants a loss, and it pretty much will end the season for the Giants. A loss here would pretty much knock them out of playoff contention. Probably. Very likely. Christmas. The Philadelphia Christmas special. The Eagles' lopsided victory over the Giants to end the Giants season and knock them out of playoff contention with a blowout loss to Philadelphia. And the Eagle fans go nuts as the Giants season is over. But they still got 2 games left. Christmas Eve, heading out home to face the LA Rams. Season's done. Giants are out of it. Everyone's going crazy. Somebody's going to get fired. They lose to the Rams at home. And then they lose again to Philly, as Philly put a biblical stomp on them. But this was a must game for Philly because they ended up tying with the Dallas Cowboys with 11 wins in the division. So the Eagles definitely was up to play this game. It wasn't one of those games where the Eagles would just sit their starters. No, they were trying to win this game because it had playoff implications. So the Eagles beat the Giants again, sweep the season series, and the New York Giants will finish the season on a 3-game losing streak. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and finish the season 7-10, which will take them out of playoff contention. Now, sorry, Giant fans. I know you guys, look, do I like the Giants? No. I'm not a bit, I hate the Giants, okay? They beat my Pats twice in the Super Bowl, and yes, I'm still bitter about that, especially the 07 one. But, I will say this. Looking at this schedule, it's not a great schedule for the Giants. It's just not. Could 7-10 could be the worst case scenario, right? I mean, let's look at some of the games that could go the opposite way. Like, could they win week 1 at home against Dallas? Yeah, they could win that game. It's prime time. They could beat that game. I mean, Dak could fold and choke. What else? Could they win at home to Seattle on Monday night? Yeah. So that's 2 extra wins they can get. What else could they get? Could they beat Washington in Washington November 19th? Yeah, they could probably do that. Could they beat New England at home? They could probably beat New England at home. So give or take, it's roughly. And then if that happens, and then coming down to the end of the season, they'll probably be more up to play and win the game against the Rams on New Year's Eve. So yeah, I mean, there are. I'll be realistic. I'll say there are about 3 or 4 wins that can go either way. So that if you add that, obviously, their high would be 10, 11 wins. But I think it's likely they're more in the 7-10 range. So their high is about 10, 11. This is their low. We're predicting them at 7-10. So if we say somewhere in between, we're talking about realistically probably another 9-win season, right? Roughly. But we're going to stick to the 7-10 because that's the prediction that we made. So let us know what you think.